One of anime's newest cute girls doing cute things anime has managed to perfect the one thing that shonen series always fail to do: make relatable, goal-oriented girl characters that are still cute and feminine, but also struggle with social anxiety. Welcome anime friends. If you're new here, hi, my name is Phoenix, and I dive into the visual world of storytelling in anime and sometimes manga on a weekly basis. Today we're going to be diving into the rock and roll world of Bocchi The Rock, exploring how it provides a social anxiety representation that I've been missing, and how it does it better than most other shonen series, most notably everyone's favorite social anxiety shoujo, which is Komi from Komi Can't Communicate. Let's begin. I spilled tea on myself already, so it's gonna be a great day. But basically, I'm going to be referencing Komi Can't Communicate, kind of against Bocchi The Rock, and how the two different series write their characters. One in a way that's really relatable and one in a way that is not as relatable, and why that is. So the defining feature of social anxiety disorder, also called social phobia, is intense anxiety or fear of being judged, negatively evaluated, or rejected in a social or performance situation, according to Anxiety and Depression Association of America. So it can be as small as like just people being afraid to do public speaking, like at an event or in front of a group of people, to as like intense as someone who's just not able to talk to people at all and usually stays indoors and like doesn't go outside. But for the most part, more people can kind of relate to people who have social anxiety now, especially in the time of like the pandemic, when people are shut inside for a long time and weren't able to like go out and talk to people face to face as often. Some people may have developed more anxiety about talking to people in person during that time, as well as the rise of the internet in the past 20-30 years being our prominent way of communicating. It makes it difficult for you to like talk to people in real life versus talking to people online, typing or even through video. But I bring all this up to say that social anxiety, the disorder, but also just like generally having anxiety about talking to people in real life, is something that's extremely relatable to a lot of people, especially young people who watch anime and manga. And in Bocchi The Rock, that is kind of the main setup for the story. The story follows a young girl named Hitori who struggles to talk to anyone but finds solace in learning guitar alone at home in the hopes of helping her connect to others and possibly join a band someday. Though she's not able to join a band in middle school like she had planned, she comes up with a plan to try to join a band while in high school and ends up stumbling upon some people who invite her into their band. And the show explores how she still kind of struggles to communicate with her bandmates and the growth that she goes through to try to complete her goal, which is performing on stage in front of a live audience. We've seen this setup before with young shy characters who have trouble like reaching out to people and changing their lives around so that they can be more sociable. But the main reason why Bocchi, I think, is so relatable to many people is the fact that we dive headfirst into Bocchi's thoughts from episode 1. And her thoughts are not all cute and demure and shy like we are used to seeing in representations of shy, socially anxious, specifically young girl characters in anime and manga. Instead, they are erratic, crazy, out of control. They're vibrant, loud. They're really loud. Like she literally screeches in her mind about things that she is anxious about. And all of these representations are fairly accurate to people who have social anxiety. I can't speak for everyone. I'm speaking for myself. I thought it was accurate to my own social anxiety because literally I am screaming in my head like 90% of the time. The words that come out of my mouth are totally different from the words that I'm thinking in my head because I'm overthinking all these crazy like aspects at like lightning speed. Bocchi Hitori, I'm going to be switching between both because they call her Bocchi in the show. Her name is Hitori. Provides a gateway to actually see into someone's brain who might have social anxiety and how they might approach different situations that they go through. For example, when Bocchi is determined to join a band at her school and make friends, brings her guitar, she wears a band t-shirt, she brings her tote bag with all her band pins because she wants someone to come up and talk to her about it. She knows that if she does all this stuff, if she wears all this stuff, someone might come up and talk to her, start a conversation without her having to approach anyone, which is like sometimes the biggest fear for people who have social anxiety is to approach someone that you don't know and start a conversation or try to be friends with them. And I love that scene so much because literally this past year I went to a convention by myself for like the first time ever, and it was very frightening. But you know what I did? I put on my freaking anime t-shirts, I wore all my anime pins. I actually wore this jacket one of the days with a bunch of anime pins on it. I sat in a corner and hoped someone would talk to me. It didn't quite work. Luckily, something else worked out and I was able to find people to hang out with. It's just funny that all these little things that people with social anxiety can do without actually talking to someone is kind of like a universal thing that people can relate to. When she's talking to Rio, I think, and the bandmates is like, oh yeah, I'm alone too. Like, I don't have much friends either. And she thinks that she's found like another person who has social anxiety, when in actuality, Rio is just an introvert and she enjoys being alone. And that's different from someone who has to be alone out of like necessity because of fear, because they don't want to go out and try to make friends because it's scary, but they do actually want to have friends. So just like that very subtle little difference between people who have anxiety about that and people who just like to be alone speaks volumes to people who have this type of anxiety. And it also provides kind of context for people who may not have this anxiety or may not even know about this, to kind of understand like what's going on in someone's brain when they seem more shy or demure or have trouble speaking. Okay, enough gushing about Bocchi The Rock. Let's talk about how this way of portraying social anxiety by getting into Hitori's mind is different from other shonen series with girl characters who have social anxiety. In particular, Komi Can't Communicate. I need to bring up one point before I dive into that though. It's the fact that Bocchi The Rock is a manga that's published in a seinen magazine targeted towards adult men. And the mangaka of the series is a man, at least according to the emoji in their Twitter bio. All this to say that like most shonen series are also written by men. Komi Can't Communicate is also written by a man. That Bocchi can dive so deeply into like social anxiety and not have it pertain to like Hitori's gender at all, like not make her demure or cute solely based on the fact that she is shy, and more on the fact that she is relatable and she is just trying to do her best. Where the other kind of uses their main character as like an object look at and think it's really cute, but not to actually relate to or feel a connection with. But both series are targeted towards men. So I previously reviewed Komi Can't Communicate in a style similar to this, where I broke down like my own social anxiety and how relatable I think the show was. If you haven't seen the series, it's basically about a girl in high school. Her name is Komi. One day, a boy who goes to the same school as her, his name is Tadano, they end up meeting up after school, and Komi writes out on a chalkboard. And now she has trouble communicating with people, but she really wants to make friends. And Tadano offers to help her make 100 friends by the end of the school year. So they come together, they become friends, and he helps her to communicate with other people. It's a fairly cute series. It's also a comedy, and it's based off of a shonen manga. There are some aspects to Komi Can't Communicate that I could relate to. Yeah, the deeper thoughts of what I didn't like about that show are in the other video, but I'm gonna instead focus more on like Komi herself as a character and how she's not relatable to me personally, because like I don't feel a connection to her as a character. Her social anxiety feels more like, yeah, this is a shy girl who can't speak because she has trouble talking to other people. Look at how cute she is, and if she does say something, it's really cute, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's fine, that's cute. But what about Komi? Like, what does she have to say about the situation? And I know literally the point of the show is like she cannot speak literally, but we never get to see her in her thoughts. We never get to hear what she's thinking. Everything that we learn about Komi, despite her being the main character of the show, is either interpreted through Tadano, who explains what she is possibly thinking or saying to other people because he can relate because he also had social anxiety, or it's explained through a narrator, like some third person omnipresent being that tells us what's going on in Komi's mind, like when she can't sleep and when she's having looping thoughts and things like that. And it's never through her own perspective, and it makes it feel like, okay, this is she like a character that we're supposed to relate to, or is she just a character that we're supposed to like because she can't talk, so she's cute? And it feels a lot more like the later. Her cuteness, her like beauty, her interest as a character seems to really be tied up in the fact that she can't express herself. It kind of makes her like a blank slate that the audience and the characters in the show can kind of put onto her of like the type of character that she is or what she might possibly be saying. This doesn't feel genuine, like we're not really understanding Komi's character at all. And once I've understood that, it makes me see the show in a different way. I still like it. It's a cute comedy series, an impossible romance that's kind of adorable, but it plays into this idea that a lot of other shonen series tend to have, especially in romance anime, where shows that make it seem like it's focusing on both characters equally, like it's focusing on like the girl and boy in their relationship, actually only ends up giving the character growth and interest to the main male character rather than the main female character. But the interesting part of it is that Bocchi The Rock, I really want to say Bocchi Can't Communicate. We do get to see into Hitori's mind We do get to see her messy, irrational, like crazy thoughts that are different than how she is perceived by others, like, you know, outside of her own mind. And she's still adorable. Like, it still doesn't take away from how cute she is. I mean, not only because of her cute character design, of course, the relatability of her character, as well as her growth, her little growth throughout the show of her changing and trying to be more approachable, talk more to the other people around her, talk more to strangers, just so she can achieve her goal, makes her very cute as well. And it kind of breaks down any idea of stories that think that they have to make characters a certain trope or a certain way to be likable, when they can make them very honest, make them very similar, arguably, possibly, I don't know this 100% for sure, more like the mangaka themselves. The person who wrote the series, exploring like probably his own social anxiety and putting it into his character Hitori and how she might react to the different situations that she's in. Lots of shonen series have main male characters that kind of detract from their female characters. Even though Komi Can't Communicate is literally titled Komi Can't Communicate, it literally should be about Komi, we are only getting all this information through Tadano. In the cute girls doing cute things subgenre, the only characters that we have to worry about are the girl characters. There's hardly any other male characters in the show, and there's hardly any romantic interest. Sometimes the romantic interests are between the girls themselves, but usually it's very, very, very subtle, and it's not like the main point of the show. The main point of the show is always going to be the girls and like reaching their goals or doing the things that they set out to do. So I think that's the biggest difference. I think that's why Bocchi The Rock is able to more accurately describe and represent social anxiety in a relatable way than any other series that I've seen with, you know, girl characters who have social anxiety as well. Anyway, Bocchi The Rock is a fantastic series. It explores not only social anxiety, but it talks about like being extroverted, introverted, different personality types that people have, that all people have, not related to gender, that can be explored like just through these cute girls who are in a rock band. I love that it's called Bocchi The Rock and it's about being in a rock band, but that comes secondary to actually understanding Bocchi's character, and it comes secondary to like the comedy of just being in her mind and exploring her erratic, irrational thoughts. But the music is not bad though. It's not the next K-On! Really in terms of like absolute bangers of songs, but it does provide more substance than K-On! Does in terms of really diving into one character's disorder and personality and how it affects her life, and that's perfectly fine. Yeah, and for anyone who's writing a story or, you know, drawing a manga or creating a manga or story or something like that, and you're writing characters that are different from you or that are a different gender from you, keep in mind that if you are giving them a personality trait that is universal, that people are going to have across whatever lines that kind of differentiate people into different groups, like social anxiety, then write honestly and truthfully from your own experience for those characters. Make them authentic instead of trying to recreate tropes that have been washed down and watered down throughout many a series. It will make a world of difference in the relatability and likability of your characters. Cute girls can be cute, but cute girls with substance are even cuter. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more anime recommendations or, you know, cute girls doing cute things but with a little bit more substance, check out my video where I break down the anime Do It Yourself and other cute girl anime like it. Or you can check out my review of Komi Can't Communicate. If you go rock out to Bocchi The Rock, get your air guitars, you know, get your fake drums, I don't know, whatever you guys do. I can't play an instrument, so okay, I'm done rambling. Peace.